Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome back. We are in Montpellier in France, so bonjour to everybody tuning in. We've got the Pilot Experience Sim payware scenery, which we're having a little look at for the first time on the channel. If you're new, a very warm welcome on board to all of you. Please do consider clicking that big shiny red subscribe button down below while you're here. And don't forget throughout today's live stream to drop us a little thumbs up and give it a like as well. David Bartley, good afternoon. And Alberto, good morning to you over in Chile. So we're going to be doing some short hops today across Europe. And we're in this Voltaire Airbus A320neo with the latest experimental branch of the flybywire A32NX. Here's Montpellier, and we're off to Ajaccio, which notoriously interesting approach, and we're going to be doing the VPT-A arrival to runway 20, I think it is, when we get there. It's about 40-ish minute, 50-minute leg. Here's some payware scenery for Pilot Experience Sims Montpellier. We'll be returning to this as well once we get back, having done a little trip, a little hop over to Ajaccio. And we've got some really nice freeware scenery at Ajaccio as well to go and check out. We'll be arriving there and having a little look at that for the first time ever. All the links are in the description for today's live stream if you do want to get your hands on either this bit of scenery here or indeed the freeware Ajaccio. It's not the freeware Ajaccio is, by the way, is not available on flightsim.to, but the link for it is in the description. Thanks to Ashley for dropping us that there. So short hops, and straight after today's live stream I'll be going straight into another night shift, so a busy afternoon for me there. David Bartley, David A, hello to you as well. That's you, I believe, parked up there in that wonderful Air Corsica livery. And first thing we're going to do is plan our pushback. And we know we're going to be departing runway 12 left, so we know we need to be turning towards the direction that the nose is already in. So let's click and drag. Actually, we're going to follow this white line. And we'll push to about here, most likely. Bit of an interesting route, but that'll do. Baccazato, hi. What do you guys think of this bit of payware, by the way? It's not actually too bad. Live weather, by the way, as well, is playing up. It's being a bit interesting. It's taken probably literally about 28-30 minutes for it to actually render in the weather. So we're thankful that it's here now. But yeah, there's obviously some problems at the moment with the way live weather seems to be working in the sim once again. So let's check out Navigraph very briefly. I'll show you guys that. Stand Delta 9 for push start. We're going to face towards Whiskey 2. We're going to taxi then towards the hold point runway 12 left over via Tango 6. And then we're going to depart on this 2,600 metre long runway over the water. Mari 6 Sierra departure. So we're going to intercept a radial of 116 outbound from the Fréjorges VOR. I've definitely pronounced that wrong again. It didn't take long, did it? Out to Mari, and over there we're going to be skirting the French coast, if you like, around Marseille, and then out from Saint-Tropez, after we get a bit of fake tan en route, into Ajaccio. When we get to Ajaccio, we're going to configure for this, and it's not in the charts. It is all going to be down to us just flying it visually, looking at the VORs and the distances between all of them. Once we get airborne, we'll go into it, of course, as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and I hope you guys enjoy it. David A still not got live weather. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely some problems with it today then. How odd. Right. Montpellier traffic, Voltaire 2835, stand Delta 8, push a start, facing west.
to ground.
Rock and roll time.
Ground, stand by.
Wait for the tug. It can take a while. Initially, we're going to climb to 7,000. Our cruise is going to be flight level 310 today, and we're on Unicom. We're still using the experimental version, yes, and it's now got, for those of you who like First Officer mode, First Officer's tablet, which is awesome.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Let's turn her off, and it turns off there as well. Really nice to see that they've added a bit in there for those of you who like the right-hand seats. We'll have to give it a go at some point soon.
You're cleared for start and push.
Okay.
Okay, cleared for push start.
Beacon.
Please release parking brake.
Park brake
Parking
off.
brakes are released.
So beacon on, seatbelt signs, APU.
You can start the engine.
Everything else is
You will
good.
start in the sequence.
And we can go ignition mode start, out to the FadeX, and we're going to start pushing back thanks to the freeware toolbar Pushback mod, which has now got that pre-plan feature that we all are really loving at the moment. And we'll start engine 2. Closing in on 15,000 followers, Alberto. Yes, exciting, right? Love it. Love every one of you guys choosing to subscribe to the channel. It means a lot, so thank you very much. Oh, we've got someone else over there. Can we? It's an Osprey. We're tracking our flight using the landing rate monitor as well, so we'll get that pop up once we get touchdown at Ajaccio to see how good our landing was. Ooh, synchronized pushback, love it. Metar, LFKJ. So the winds at the moment are 240 at 6, Cav OK, 14 degrees, QNH 1021 at Ajaccio. So it sounds like it's okay for the VPT Alpha approach, but who knows?
Take a moment now to look at your cruise protector and remember it may be behind you. If there is a change in cabin pressure, 4 oxygen masks will drop from overhead. Firmly pull the mask towards you to start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose and mouth, pull your elastic bands around your head, and tighten each of the straps on both sides.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
And we'll let you know when it's
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
We'll be passing through the cabin to make sure we are ready for departure. You can help us by making
Sean, that's Latin VFR's custom RX ground vehicle pack, so you can buy one for each region: North America, Europe, the Far East, and South America, and I think
Position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
really nice add-ons actually. They've just released a ground vehicles one, so all the ground traffic driving around the world on the roads within the sim, they've now got one of those as well, which is quite cool. I might taxi via that actually. Full of Flights, hello to you, welcome. Thanks for convincing me to upgrade to the development version of the fly-by-wire. We'll be testing it this afternoon on a return from Split. You're more than welcome. Enjoy it. It's a lot more immersive. You're going to really love it. Turn that off. We'll pop them out the belly. We'll put that on auto. Put that on. Happy days. That'll do. First screenshot of the day, park brake off, spoilers armed, and Montpellier traffic. Voltaire 2835 is taxiing to hold point runway 12 left via Mike and Tango. Voltaire traffic, Montpellier traffic. Voltaire traffic. Oh god, they sound too similar. Ay ay ay. Here we go. Let's rock and roll. Let's get to Ajaccio. It's been a while since we've done this. I did do a tutorial on doing the circling approach into Ajaccio, the VPT Alpha. Oh, David, fantastic. It'll be the first time doing it with my new Turtle Beach Velocity 1 kit as well. Which I'm still absolutely loving at the moment. You're missing your landing gear in your first screenshot. Whoops. How's that? He says as he ever so slightly taxis off course. It's rather dark and dingy at the moment in Montpellier, isn't it, with this thick layer of cloud. They've got a nice little regional airport as well with some nice scenery available for it. From Pilot Experience Sim, what are we doing? Mary 6 Sierra departure, so we can do the cabin secure drill, all the checks. On.
Please prepare for takeoff.
Prepare quickly. And Mikhail, morning from the night shift man. Yeah, I'll be joining you today on the night shift as well for the next 2 days. I'm on a slightly earlier start today, so it has brought my start time forwards by an hour, which means I've also got to leave for work an hour earlier, which is going to be from about 4. So it's going to be a challenge. We're going to fit it all in though. Montpellier traffic, Voltaire 2835 is lining up, runway 12 left and taking off on the Mary 6 Sierra departure, Montpellier traffic. Hubert, welcome.
Montpellier traffic, Corsica 490 is taxiing to 12 left.
Ooh, Tiller, just as I'm putting in some throttle there.
Montpellier traffic.
Flex. Rock and roll. V1 of 135 today, or 128 actually I think, which is about now. V1 rotates. And we'll follow the flight director, positive rate, gear up. We'll have to jump back into the flight deck in a second, because I know I think we're at thrust reduction altitude now. We are, and we're almost at. Oh, I forgot TCAS. Of course I did. I always forget TCAS. There we go. I knew that there was one thing left that I knew I'd forgotten. There we go. Refreshed. So we're just accelerating away now effectively up to our flat retraction speed, and then we can bring those flaps in. First time flying out of this part of France actually, but it does look quite nice. I would imagine it's really nice in the summer. Wow, that beach is busy on that satellite photo. Whoa. Flat retraction speed time. Go. And we're going to be into the cloud pretty quick as well. There go the flaps. We're going to continue climb, so we'll just go straight up to 310. Like so. Let's get wing anti-ice on. And we'll get ready for those cloud views. With those volumetric clouds as well, we do like those.
Montpellier traffic, Corsica 490, lining up 12 left for departure.
Look at that. Awesome. Clouds look so realistic. So it's a very exciting approach, this VPT Alpha. It could go wrong very quickly as well, but there's also no way to tune anything into the aircraft. So you've got to rely on instruments, tuning the right things, and looking at your distance from various VORs, MDBs, and that sort of thing as well, and using visual references around the ground. Sid Lamb, hello to you. Does the A32NX have VNAV yet? No, sadly not. And Dwyle, good afternoon. I hope you're well. It was a 44-minute en route time, this first leg. And it is rather cloudy outside. I mean, look at that. Looks great though. Oop. There you go. Just as I was about to take a screenshot, there goes the plane. We'll wait for it to bust out the other side of this. Like so. Oh, wonderful. And we'll just check progress in here. Probably turn wing anti-ice off. And all of this off as well now. That's all good. We can turn seatbelt signs off, and we're at 12,000. Where we go. The Voltaire livery is on flightsim.to for those of you who do want to get your hands on it. Atch, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. A very warm welcome to you. And Amiga1 as well, welcome to the channel. Thanks for hitting that subscribe button as well. Full of Flights is asking, anyone else got issues with the AIG traffic manager? Mine just gets stuck on FS load data and no airlines come up. Is that the installer itself, the AIG installer, or something else entirely? I know the installer broke for a very short while, stopped self-updating or auto-updating. So if you've got a previous version, it'll be interesting to see what's at the bottom of your screen on AIG, see what the version number is. And if I think at the moment it's on 97, or yeah, .97, along with a load of other numbers in front of it. So if it is, there might be some sort of other issue. But if it's still in the 80s, the last couple of digits of the version number in your AIG OCI installer, then you'll have to go back to the AIG website and download it fresh. Because I think just before sim update, well actually when their servers came back online, something got broke within the auto update section. So it could be that. We're going to get to... there you go, Full of Flights. Yeah, so go to the AIG website and download the OCI installer again, the AIG installer once more. Delete the old one and then put the new one in its place and then run it and it should be fine. Or overwrite the files as well, you could just do that. I think that's what I did actually, I just overwrote the files. And then it works again. But no, as you're asking there, will that destroy airlines already installed? No, it won't. It shouldn't touch the package you've already got. But if you're not sure, go into your AIG OCI package that contains all the models and the liveries, copy, paste it somewhere else so you've got a backup folder, and then add it in. Hopefully that helps anyway. Right, already in 160 miles there's Varick and there's Ajaccio, and you can see I've already put 2 range rings in. So if we go to Salon, fix info, you can see what I've done here. So let's bring the charts up. Told you this is a quick one. So initially we're going to fly in via Rubus, I think it is, or Varick, sorry, there we go, Varick. Varick 2 November arrival. Lasva, and then Idol. It doesn't have those waypoints in actually, which is interesting. So what I might do is I might put the Lock 02 approach in so I can do the Varick 2 November. Was it Varick 1 Sierra? Let's have a quick look here. I'll put the Varick 1 Sierra in. Fire Horo. Hit enter. And then in here. KJ 800 is that one. We want to go in via Idle though. Let's go Arnav 20. Varick 2 November. No Vias. Let's just click that and see what happens. Varick, Lasva, Idol. There we go. Lasva, Idol. That's what we want. So comparing that against the Navigraph screen. Let's hide that a second. There we go. Via Idol. And it's for the runway 20 on arrivals. But it is only for RMPs. But we're using it for a bit of a guide because the initial approach fix from Idol is going to be around 4,000 feet at that point, and then we're going to transition straight to this. So we'll be using a bit of track FPA mode, and we'll see there 3,000 by ATC or 4,000. We'll descend down to 2,110 feet just by this little jutty bit on the port area here at the coast, and then 4 miles descending down to 1661, and then a right turn max 180 knots. Couple of terrain warnings and high peak points, masts and things to watch out for, and then we've got Point Charlie, 870 feet before we make our final approach to the runway. We've got the NDB of 365 at RB tuned in, which I've already put into the RadNav page, 365, and then the Ajaccio VOR, which is all the way over here, 114.8, which I've put into VOR 1. So I'm going to actually use 365 for the NDB in ADF 2, and this one is quite important. This VOR here is quite important because there is a do not overfly section here, 7.7 DME arc around the Ajaccio VOR. So I've had to round it to 8, but what it means is we know we're at Idol because we'll be on a radial of 314 from the Ajaccio VOR from looking at the charts. We'll fly tracker 093 degrees, and then we will turn left to fly this downwind leg over the land, descending down once we hit that radial of 337, which you can see on the charts just there. So I've put a fixed ring in at Ajaccio for 8 DME. So as we're turning left, we should be just tickling the line instead, and then we know we're good. And then I've also used RB NDB, and I've placed a 5 DME ring around that, which is this blue arc here pretty much, or put a 4 DME ring, sorry, around it because of this max 4.2 DME arc here on the base turn. So we won't overfly that. And that also helps because Point Yankee, which is at 3.337 degrees track and 7.7 DME arc, Point Yankee there is also 4 miles away from the RB NDB. So it's kind of a double whammy there, if that makes sense. And you can see what I've put in here: AJO 8 DME and then RB 4 DME, and that's directly translated here onto the maps like so. Flight level 310 already, we're almost at cruise. David's still got clear skies, good grief. Well, how strange. Thankfully I've got some weather though. We're going to have to think about descending already, I think. IDOL at 4,000. I'm just going to quickly go on to descent.now.sh. And it's telling us 100 miles. Okay, so we've got a couple of minutes. I think when we get to STP we'll have to be into descent there. Enter destination data. .METAR METAR LFKJ. So Perth QNH 1021. Temperature is 16 degrees Celsius at Ajaccio and the wind's 200 degrees at 10 knots. Transition altitude is going to be on the charts somewhere. MDA for this VPT Alpha, by the way, is 4,000 feet, which is at IDOL. So if we can't see very well at IDOL, we might have to reconsider. What is our transition altitude? Transition level by ATC. Let's look at some SIDS. That usually has a transition on it. 5,000. So we'll say 6,000. Flight level 60. And the Barrow, as I was mentioning a minute ago, for the VPT Alpha is 4,000. I'd probably say it's a dangerous approach, which is probably why it is 4,000 feet. Duck Dastardly, hello to you, welcome. Grey Goose, wow, not far from Montpellier yourself. Well, welcome, bonjour, good afternoon. It was a long drive down from Yorkshire the last day and a half. Wow, okay, that's cool. You there with like a holiday home or just a bit of a vacation? Andy, good afternoon. Been having lots of crash desktops lately in MSFS. I thought it was just the CRJs, but last night it crashed using the A32NX. Have I had any problems? I can't say I have, to be totally honest. I think it's probably worth investigating the mods and things you've got installed and perhaps clearing the cache as well. IDOL. Let's 136 nautical miles to IDOL. So when that hits about 100, we need to start our descent. These high alto cirrus clouds, I think. Alto. I have to look in my book. I'm trying to relearn meteorology. Eunice, good morning. Here we are, flying over the coast of France. So actually, we're over the. Is it the Mediterranean? I think it might be. Sunday we're doing a double header in Turkey for the first time. We've got double payware scenery, the new Aerosoft Adana scenery released recently actually by the Aerosoft team, or ST Simulations, and we're then going to head to Simulations payware Dalaman as well, which we've had for a little while. We've used once or twice, but it's recently been updated, and hopefully it's going to be looking spectacular. We'll be doing a return back to Adana as well, using a Pegasus livery. And I think, from memory, it's a real-life flight. 120. Okay, that's not too bad. 1021, wasn't it? I'm going to set that there, partly because I'm lazy, so it means I don't have to worry about it afterwards. 310, that's tuned, that's tuned. Ajaccio VOR's active already. And that's all looking good. We've got our route configured and pre-filed for the return as well. Yeah, crash to desktops, especially when there's little sort of there's no notification still about what could be causing it. Where, you know, when it loads a particular file and causes the CTD, it'd be nice if that was implemented at some point soon. Grey Goose, okay, nice. That's a pretty cool thing then. So hopefully you've all been briefed with the approach. One thing we haven't really done so far is talk about the minimum. So MDA there for day is 4,000 feet and visibility is 10 kilometers or more. Max 180 knots for Category C or D aircraft. We're Category C, and you can see there the missed approach at runway end. Join and follow 212 degrees from the RB lock center, climbing to 3,000, then as directed, which is that dashed line there. We can see from point C we have to be at 870 feet. We want to intercept Pappy glide slope and descend with 393 feet per nautical mile, 3.7 degree glide slope, but it's all visual, so we're just going to have to see what we can do. The little point 2 there says if pilot considers weather conditions are not optimal to complete the procedure, maintain holding pattern at idle at 4,000 feet. If LFD 54 C1, C2, C3, C4 are active, max of 200 knots. So that is effectively what it's going to look like, and when we get to the downwind leg, probably at this point here, we will turn the autopilot off and fly the rest of it in ourselves. But this will be all selected heading mode and selected descent mode as well. There's no flight plan for it to be done automatically. Runway wise, 2,400 meters, nice and long. We're going to aim to try, we'll try and vacate at Bravo, but it's not likely that will happen because it is quite close. So we'll probably use low auto brake, reverse idle down to Alpha. We'll vacate and head towards the main commercial apron for the turnaround. Briefed. Now we know what we're doing. We just have to execute it. Back to the flight deck, quick sit rep, and we're 103 to go. Let's head down. 4,000. Rock and roll. Top of descent. So we want low auto brake. I'll set it now just as a visual identification thing for you guys watching if you want to give this a go yourselves. And you can follow all our steps as well if you do want to watch back another time and have a go at this Ajaccio tutorial. I've done a tutorial video a little while ago now, but of course the fly-by-wire mod has advanced significantly in that time and continues to do so. So think of this as a bit of a live refreshed tutorial. One thing I do want to manually tune in here is the ILS localizer at 1103. We're not going to be flying an ILS approach, but it's there because it's part of the DME stuff. We might turn LS mode on here, just so we get the data on the bottom left as we make our way in. Flight plan wise, from idle, we've got that discontinuity. And what we can do is, while we explore that, there's our range rings, idle, and we're going to delete these two here. I might delete the first one actually. And then we kind of do that, but we also want to overfly idle. So let's tick that, we get the triangle. Ding! Happy days. KJ602, I'm going to delete FKJ20 I think. As well. And this is going to make it messy. But if you think about it, that second part of the procedure, that final turn if you like, is now on my screen a little bit. So that's going to help. This bit here will just move accordingly. There is a VPT Bravo as well, which is a slightly alternate procedure going the south side, but we'll do this one. On the performance page for the arrival then we can see the approach speed of 131 and landing speed of 126. We'll do configuration in full. Flap 4000 is set and there's our weather data done. Away we go. Let's get in. Varek Lasva and Ajaccio will start to come into view actually over there somewhere. In fact, we can see it. That land mass here is Ajaccio. How's my pronunciation of that today as well? Varek 2 November for us, isn't it? And VPT Alpha, so on my notepad, Varek 2 November, VPT Alpha, runway 20, and via idle. We can see idle there. And we've got speed constraint at 220, I think at Lasva potentially. Idle actually, max 220 between 10,000 flight level 100 and 4,000. $60 miles, so I think we can come down on this rate of descent slightly. Do 1600 for a minute. We'll aim for a continuous descent all the way down. Dwal, thanks. Tom C, hello to you, welcome. And Mohammed, welcome on board. Thanks for hitting subscribe. Now the QNH was 1021, so we will set that ready. There. And we'll go back to standard until we reach transition. 60 miles to idle, so I think top of descent was a little bit quick, but though about 40 miles from now, just after Varek, we want to be over below 10,000 I think. Otherwise it will get very steep. Get the seatbelt signs back on. The RNAV for runway 20 is quite cool as well. It takes you through a gap in the mountains. You go directly through it between two sort of two peaks if you like, and then it's a very sharp descent into the valley, sweeping down onto the runway, and it all happens very quickly. And I've done a tutorial with that as well, showing all the information, but again with a previous earlier version of flybywire A32NX. Based on Dwal's scan knowledge, I think it's Ajaccio. which I think is how I've been pronouncing it, but I might be wrong. I think ages and ages ago, I used to call it Ajaccio, and somebody pointed out that it was Ajaccio, so I think from that I've learned to pronounce it the correct way at least. Right, so when we hit Idol, I'll probably go through it again when we get a bit closer. It's more so for my own good. It's a bit of a refresh as we fly the procedure. We hit Idol at 4,000. Jan, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing. Idol, track 093, down to 3,000. In fact, down to 2,110. We'll do 2,100 at the coast. And it's a max tailwind of 6 knots. I think we'll be on the edge of that as well, if not slightly above. We'll be fine. DC Mole, hello to you, welcome. 40 miles, 50 to Idol. Where's our prog page? Yeah, 46 to Idol, and we've got 10,000 to lose. So actually, we're on track here with a nice rate of descent. As long as we're at 4,000 by Idol, we're okay. We've got David behind. I can see on the TCAS there by about 20-30 miles. But that's really good separation for this procedure. If we do a missed approach, we're on Unicom, so what we'll do is we'll climb to 3,000 again, and we'll route back round to have another go. Just call it destination, yes. A controller's favourite answer, isn't it? Clearance to destination as filed. It's always useful when you get a file a sort of flight plan filed by a pilot who is going somewhere obscure potentially, and you don't really know where it is. You can just throw in clear to destination as filed. Otherwise, you've got to Google the 4-letter code to work it out. DCMO, good question. We do have the first officer's tablet in this experimental flybywire version, but it's also in the developmental version as well. Thomas, hello to you, welcome. Dzień dobry. Let's bring that to 40 now. So Idol, and actually we want open descent, we want to get down. That's probably, yeah, it's probably a good point now. Barrack. Ajaccio traffic, Volater 2835, Airbus A320neo inbound on the Barrack 2 November arrival, expecting VPT Alpha runway 20 approach. Will report Idol, Ajaccio traffic. $10,000. Now we've got to also factor in another reduction in speed to about 180. We don't need the wing. That'll do us. DC Mole, how's the PPL? I've not flown for 3 weeks, and sadly the price of flying, because of the fuel prices going up so much, the price of flying has now gone from £210 an hour up to almost £240, £250 an hour. Which is awful, because it wasn't a very accessible hobby for those of us who couldn't quite afford it previously, and now it is kind of stretching it even more. So I feel sorry for those sort of younger folk at the flying school who are trying to get their PPL done on a really limited budget, because it, potentially for a couple of them it's going to push them out into the brackets of it being unaffordable now. which is a real shame. Hopefully it will resolve itself soon and the prices all settle. But we'll still stick at it. So you see now, actually, as we were talking about that little routing that we did where we deleted a couple of waypoints from the RNAV arrival and made our own reference bit, that wild line that's arced off now, and we tick the overfly idle, which is why it's got the circle on it, you can see now it's actually kind of formed almost the routing that we want to do for the VPT Alpha, and we're not going to follow that because it's not going to be of any use to us, and it's likely inaccurate too. Trying to join you one of your flights. One of my 320 nose wheel is locked to the left, Jonathan. Oh, good grief. Jersey 2, what have you missed? A sporty departure out of Montpellier, but we are now, you joined us just before we do this visual manoeuvring with prescribed tracks Alpha approach, runway 20 into Ajaccio. We've got some freeware Ajaccio airport scenery as well, which isn't available. It's not available on flightsim.to. It's available on a different website entirely, and the links are in the description if you do want to get your hands on this once we see it. And by all accounts, it looks very, very nice indeed. There's our fix rings, all fired up, ready. So we've got the 8 DME fix ring for the 7.7 DME arc from Ajaccio VOR, which we cannot overfly. And then of course we've also tuned the RBNDB 365 on the ADF, and we've set a 4 DME range ring around that too. In Zloty, the fuel price is lowered today in Poland from 8.12 for 1 litre of gas to 7.99. Wow, how come that was? How come that's been lowered then? Just a user. We are in approach, yes, quite a tricky approach as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. You're going to see me try and do this live for the first time in, I think, a year and a half since I did this approach, with no practice. So fingers crossed. It's going to get busy, so we're going to get most of our setup done early as well. In fact, we'll arm the ground spoilers now. One less thing to do. And I might now go to approach mode. We'll go down to green dot 210. 1021. Transition flashing at us. And idle is a VOR right there, a little mound on the hill, or this bit that juts out of the island. A little bump is the idle VOR. From there we're going to head off back over the coast, the other side of this terrain. This is all visual flying now as well. 093 degrees down that way. Dwell, they're ripping you off. Mate, my local flying club charges £132 to £144 an hour for training, unless you're doing dual engine. Wow. Good grief. No, I'm PA28 single engine. It was £210 an hour. But yeah, it's gone up nearly, closer towards 250. God, it does make you wonder how much profit some of these clubs make then. Right, this is going to get busy now. Let's do cabin secure. Try again. Doctor on board? No, this is the good one. We love a VPT. Make sure I've got all my screens turned up because I want to be able to see everything that's going on the nav display. Right, let's get rid of that for now. negligible crosswind at the minute, 2 knots. And now we're inbound Idol. Let's do this. VPT Alpha.
100 above.
And that's our minimums. Cool. But you can see the weather's good, wind's looking good, and everything else is looking in our favour at the moment. There we are. So minimums, and we can continue at the moment. Of course, it could always change at any point. Missed approach was to 3,000, but it's likely we won't get to set that in time. We're going to change this one to 100s. In fact, now we'll change it to 100s. We're going to go on to track mode, select track FPA. We'll turn LS mode on because we get the little readout at the bottom here for the DME, but we're going to ignore the glide slope because it's not what we want. Increase flaps. Before I hit idle, I want to be 180. And idle is that. Here we go. Just going to maneuver this around a little bit. And now we've run out of time. It's going to be track of 093 degrees. That goes off. 093 down to 2,100. We'll set 3,000 first, actually. Ajaccio traffic, Voltaire 2835, passing Idol, inbound, visual approach, VPT Alpha, runway 20, next report finals, Ajaccio traffic.
Checking traffic.
Actually, we're going to go 0191 for a second.
Outside of idle.
35. So actually, let's continue down here to 21. When we tickle this line, we then want to go right onto a 038 degrees and then a 022 degrees to kind of head towards that KJ 602 point. And it's going to get really busy. There's Ajaccio Airport. There's the little port kink that we showed on the charts earlier. We're going to overfly that port there. Ever so slightly just to the right hand side of that as well.
$2,500.
Mr. Swedish Moto? What do you mean? I think I did. 038. Laps 2. There's the port. We're going to head straight line through this valley here. Straight line, and then we're going to descend down 2,100 now. We want to get down towards... Hmm. .022 now. Set 3,000. Autopilot off. Harry Ball, hello. We'll just tickle that slightly, and we're going to just tease the nose down a little bit here. Laps 3. And we're a beam, we'll go gear down. Slight correction here, we've got a crosswind, actually, we've got a crosswind from left to right. So we're going to keep this as it is. Point C, 870 feet. So we're going to keep this rate of descent for now. There's the freeware Ajaccio. So we've got the autopilot off, we're flying this manually now. The RNAV arrival brings you in through this valley here. It's a really steep approach, but it's awesome. So I can highly recommend that if you haven't given that a go yourself. Or just give this one a go. This is great fun.
1,000.
And we're going to now commit to a right turn. Hey, we've got 400 to lose, so we'll keep us as we are at the moment. We'll just do, it's about 100, 200 foot per minute rate of descent for this, I think, for this turn. Max 180 knots. We're going slower than that, so 15, 20 degrees is more than enough. Those lakes there are kind of going to help us round off our turn for final approach. Ajaccio traffic, Volaterre 2835, finals runway 20, visual approach. There's the runway, full flap. Gonna just ease off on the turn here. We want to try and roll wings level before that last lake. And that's kind of Point Charlie here, the lakes actually. We'll make use of the slight crosswind. We've got 2 red, 2 white on the Pappies. Let's bring our rate of descent to about 800, 700. A little bit of bumpiness. 2 red, 2 white still. We're using the Pappy guidance now for our visual approach. And only the Pappies. 700 foot per minute. We're trying to hold that stable.
500.
And we'll just make sure our wings are level. Don't want to spend too long with this to get a screenshot because I will crash otherwise. And that's probably spent too long.
200.
We got it back. Here we go. Hands on the throttles.
40.
Look into the end of the runway for
30.
depth.
20. Retard.
Hold,
10.
hold in the flare.
5.
And we are reverse green. And we're just decel now. Towards the end of the runway. Manual brakes. There's our perfect landing rating, 175. Probably would have been a bit smoother if I wasn't focused on trying to get that landing rating. The screenshot, I should say. We go flaps to 0, and we'll disarm the spoilers. And we'll vacate at Alpha. And this is the freeware. Ajaccio.
Ajaccio traffic, Corsica 490, final 20.
Ajaccio traffic, Volaterre 2835, runway vacated. Let's just really quickly come to a stop because David's on approach. Look at that, our separation ended up perfect, didn't it? We've zoomed max in here, so it is a little blurry. Looking good. There you can see the touchdown zones and things as well. Dwell, you just disarm the spoilers. And you just press, if you've got a keybind for it, you just press to disarm them. and it will recognise the fact that you've never retracted them manually yourself. It was just sort of the pre-landing arming of the ground spoilers. So when you push it back down again, it will hold it off. And oh, look at that, smooth, very nice. It's that waypoint that we were going to try and achieve. It was just never going to happen, was it? Let's start taxiing here. Yeah, so after landing, if you've got ground spoilers armed like this, you just disarm them and it will retract them automatically for you. I've got park brake on. Let's get that off, that onto taxi, runway turn lights off, strobe lights, oops, on auto, we'll turn them off now. We'll get out of the way for David's, we'll start the APU. And here's some freeware Ajaccio. From a distance, it looks great.
Ajaccio traffic, Corsica 490's exit at 20 Alpha.
Howassork, because the missed approach was 3000. Oh, we've got someone else on approach. And we'll park front and centre outside the terminal, I think. Bar brake on, APU bleed, you know what, I had a feeling there that we would have ended up with a random thing kick off. Here we go for another touchdown. CTN 786. Trying to think what airline that is. Croatia? Or is it Croatian Airlines? There's the touchdown markings, the aiming point. Nice. Neil, hello. There he is. It's that horrible football livery that comes into Heathrow every now and again. Freeware Ajaccio then. Here it is. Not bad for a bit of freeware airport scenery. Textures are quite basic, of course, with the windows and things. Lack of that sort of glass that's visible, but the building from a distance looks wonderful. I'll have to get a little screenshot of both of us parked up here as well if I can. In hindsight, should have picked the next gate along actually. Could have got both. There's a screenshot. So we've got to return back to Montpellier now. And again, similar routing time. We're going to give an RNAV arrival a go into Montpellier, though I know this doesn't have VNAV in it yet still. Here comes the Croatian. Perfectly timed. And there's a screenshot. Lovely. And another one. The return will take about an hour. So if we dive straight into the flight deck then, and we have a little look at my sim brief route for the way back actually. 55-minute airtime for this next leg. So we can go MCDU, ATSU, AOC, init press, init request, 55 minutes, weight balance. Here's a question. Do we have stairs at this airport? Yes. Oh. Let's get it all going. There we go. And the hydraulics have just dropped off. There goes our wing droop. They make it look so much better, don't they? We'll just start the boarding process now. And in the EFB, we want fuel 5,578 kilograms to also take into consideration for any diversion. That was quick, with an awful noise. I hate that sound. Sounds like a pigeon has shouted boarding complete. Flight level 300 for cruise. And we are Volatet 2834 for the return. So we will disconnect briefly from VATSIM and reconnect with our new call sign. In we go. And we'll fetch our new route from the server. And here we go. So, on Navigraph, let's bring our new routing in. New flight from SimBrief, KJ to MT. We're going to depart runway 20. We're at stand 4. So push start, face north, taxi on Tango, Delta, hold point 20. We'll do a bit of a backtrack and we'll use as much as we can. Although 2,400, I think we should be okay from the threshold actually. SIDS, Lonsu, 1 Romeo I'm looking for. Oh, there we go. So after departure, 202 runway heading until at or above 420 feet MSL with the QNH 1021 outbound to KJ 702, and then we're off out to Lonsu, like so. We'll pin that. There's Lonsu. We're then Mike 622 airway up to Merlu, onto the Alpha 3 airway up to Saint-Tropez again for a bit of fake tan, overflying fake tan city, Golf 7. Madra, passing south of Marseille, following the French coast again, pretty much the opposite to what we've just done on the way out, pretty much exactly actually, and then Montpellier. When we get to Montpellier, we're looking at the runway 12 left RMP approach. So vectoring for an arrival there. So it's a bit interesting because we've got to come in from the opposite direction. We're going to look to probably come in from the south, although runway 12 right is an issue, isn't it? Probably come in from the north then. There we go. Mike Tango 502. We'll go direct to Mike Tango 502, which is there, just looking at the charts for the first time. 10 DME from the VOR, for Georgios VOR. And then we're going to vector around for this RNAV approach. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the A32NX. It doesn't have VNAV, of course, so what we could do, we'll put an LNAV only RNAV in with a minimum of 660 feet just for that safety blanket there too. So, in. No star. Taxi. We'll pin that one as well. And that'll be all for Navigraph for the time being. But Ajaccio, we want the departure. Runway 20. Launch 1 Romeo. Insert. Check the flight plan legs. We've got no discontinuities, that's good. And we know that we're going in via Mari. There's a discontinuity there for Montpellier, so we'll just do arrivals. Now interestingly, it requires an approach. What are we doing? RNAV 12 left, which is fine, that's what we want, but then we want no star. Approach is via MT502. There it is. Insert. So what we should have is Mari, MT502, there we go, perfect. So straight into our RNAV approach into Montpellier. Launch 1 Romeo, climb on a 202 bearing, 420 feet, turn right, direct KJ 702, turn right to Lonsu. Nice and simple. Performance page. And Doctor on board gave us a little while ago. Don't have aircraft type filed in VATSIM. That's really weird. There must be some sort of issue with that then, because we've filed it for an A320neo. Aircraft A20N. Free-fall flight, VATSIM. Let's have another look here. Aircraft type A20N. So, I don't know what... It's definitely not on my side. Let's have a look. I'll reconnect. Oh, for goodness sake. Now I've had some sort of exception crash on VATSIM. Let's try again. VOE 2834. I've restarted it entirely. We want to restart it in administrator mode though, because that's how I'm running the sim. VOE 2834 A20N. Connect. It should be there. Should be there. Mr. Swedish Motor, hello to you, welcome. Oh, you're flying along as well, fantastic. Right, that's throwing my train of thought a little bit here. So transitions 5,000, where were we? What were we doing? Doctor on board gave us our engine out stuff. So it was 1019/3019. That'll round itself up, of course. And engine out 1019. let's go to this and we'll clear baggage, catering and steps. We'll plan our pushback. There's our aeroplane. So we want to push. This is going to be interesting for the toolbar pushback mod, or program I should say. There we go. Give it a nice little. There's a challenge. Challenge accepted. I mean, 24.9 is kind of there, which is up, which is a bit weird. Up 0.3. Check the AF data, so I'll just resync these. They shouldn't change. Okay, that's done. QNH 1021 is done. For the Lonsu departure, we're going to be looking at full of flights, how do you rotate the aircraft in pushback planner? Have you watched my little tutorial video that I've done, sort of covering it? Because it does go into detail showing you different bits with that. On Volanta, we need to refresh our... Jeff, sadly it seems like the Fenix A320 might arrive before the A32NX VNAV. I think you're right. I think that is going to be the case. Interestingly, because Fenix are doing a tablet for the first officer, all of a sudden Flybywire have created a tablet for the first officer. So it's obviously healthy competition. DC Mole, yes, good thing it's only virtual fuel with the prices so far. Well, sadly, the virtual fuel, I guess, is electricity bills for us, which isn't cheap. Running the sim. 2834. We'll refresh those, switch them around. Doink. There we go. Still no aircraft type on that sim. Yeah, definitely some issues there then. Either with vPilot communicating with MSFS or something else. I don't know. But no, I've definitely filed A320neo. And you know what? We're just going to set. We'll set 11,000 for now. After departure, because we might as well. That's all done. That's all set. We don't need external power. We can turn LS mode off because I did forget to turn that off. Perf page is complete. Init A, Init B. Flight plan with the SID, Lonsu 1 Romeo. We don't need RADAV really. That's blank for now. And we're Unicon 1228. All of that is set accordingly, and I've left TCAS on because I will forget it otherwise. And the flight deck door is locked. Okay, beacon on. I think it's time to push and start. Stefan, there's at the moment I don't think there is much of a difference between the two versions, the Flybywire A32NX developmental or experimental versions, of course. It's updated, isn't it? John, we're back soon, and a year plus. Wow, yeah, member for 14 months. That's remarkable. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your ongoing support. Channel member for 14 months. Oh, absolutely, DC Mole. It's certainly, I think, dare I say it, saved Microsoft Flight Simulator. Mind you, I do dare to say it. If I was on Twitch, I think I'd care a bit more because they seem to get a bit more attention from Microsoft Flight Simulator official. So we've spawned the pushback tug. I need this to sort of reset itself. Oops. Oh well. Ajaccio traffic, Voltaire 2834, stand 4, push and start facing north. Ajaccio traffic. Mikael, welcome on board, thanks for subscribing. So we've left the pushback took behind, what a shame. But we're seeing if it follows the prescribed route that we've selected. It certainly seems to be. Out of the stand, a little bit of a weird S movement that we're doing here. Power sorg, yes. So we asked it to follow that white line, followed by a tight turn to get central just at stand 4 without being too much of an issue for those around us. Look at that, sharp turn, love it. Away from all the equipment as well. Oh, I can't remember. Seatbelt signs are on. Okay. Thought we'd have had some announcements there. So we'll go park brake on. And that's pushback automatically cancelled by the looks of it. So there are some issues with the way it all seems to work at the moment. A32 accidentally used the rudders during pushback yesterday during a planned pushback and it rocked off and did some random stuff, bugged out. Hey John.
It's been a blast, thank you.
You're most welcome, thank you for being part of the channel. It's you guys that make the channel what it is, so I appreciate every one of you being here. Let's pop strobes on auto. Let's see, I think we are there. Flaps 1+F. I bet it was very awkward at Gatwick, yes. Especially with some of the controllers, they could be a bit funny at times. Okay, so charts-wise, Ajaccio traffic, Voltaire 2834, taxi to hold point Delta, runway 20 via Tango and Delta, Ajaccio traffic. Hawk. Now you've got to remember the tiller. I always forget, I always steer too much and then all of a sudden the tiller catches me out. Just want to slow down here because I want to catch a cool little screenshot as we go past here. As I mentioned at the start of today's live stream, if you want to get your hands on this scenery, this bit of freeware, check the description of the live stream for the link. It's only available on one website, but it is very nice as you can see here. Similarly, if you want the Pilot Experience Sims Montpellier, which we're flying back to now, so if you didn't catch it at the start, you can catch it in an hour's time when we land. Again, the description for today's live stream will contain all the links. APU still spooling down. So on auto brake max, ground spoilers armed. We're 1+F and that's green and locked, so we'll do takeoff config and we can do cabin crew. All cool. Where we go. Definitely need to fly in here with the CRJ at some point in the near future. I bet that'd be great fun. Managing the throttle during a VPT approach will get full on very quickly. Don't forget to smash the like button while you're here, guys. If you haven't already given us a little like today, please consider doing so, and tickle the subscribe button as well. Click it once if you haven't yet done so, and become a subscriber. Yesterday I did a little video showing off, for those of you who like a bit of virtual reality, showing off a company that creates prescription lenses dedicated to virtual reality headsets. So if you like VR in flight sims, whether it be MSFS or DCS, which I'd imagine would be epic in that, but also you need a prescription for your glasses because of sight issues, then you'll be able to purchase custom-made prescription lenses from this website, which I put in the video yesterday, and they've given us, part of the British AvGeek community, they've given us 5% off with a coupon code. So if it's something that could be of use to you guys, then do check it out. Hopefully, well, it's already helped a few people, because I know a couple have already placed a little order in and sent me an email saying thank you, so hopefully it helps a couple of you folks here.
Ajaccio traffic, Corsica 490, taxi.
Slow down for the turn. Strobes on. We'll turn the landing lights and runway turn lights on. There we go, there's the cabin crew all call. Ajaccio traffic, Volater 2834 is backtrack runway, correction, lining up runway 20, taking off on a Lonsu 1 Romeo departure, Ajaccio traffic. Andy, it's the same in real life though. The A32NX runs away very quickly from the pilots. What they'll do is they'll let it speed up to about 30 knots, and then they'll apply the brakes to slow it right down and let the speed build up again. And that way they're not manipulating the throttles or anything like that. Just a user, I'm not sure. When did you subscribe? It can't have been today. I've seen your username multiple times in the past. Get rid of the music. Bar break. GA lessons. Sorry to hear that. Suggest you go tune to something else then. Take off time. That's 2 clicks. Flex SRS. Let's go back to Montpellier. There's David. B1, rotate. Got the flight director. Oh no, we're still in track FPA mode, that's why. Fantastic. Landing gear up. And we can turn the autopilot on now. Away we go. Let it do its thing. Ah, there's 2 boats there that we've just overflown. Lever climb. And you can see the turn coming up in a couple of miles. Let's see. That's what we want. GA lessons, no problem at all. So Lonsu 1 Romeo. Jeff, that's what we did a minute ago. Well, it's a VPT, but it's a circling approach, or circle to land as it's known. We did that on arrival into Ajaccio. It's a great airport to fly into. If you're just tuning in now, by the way, and you are flying in or tuning in for the first time, wondering what the VPT circling approach looked like, if you rewind to about 20-30 minutes, you'll see the whole thing in full. March 30th for Concorde, Just Flights or DC Designs Concorde, fantastic. We should be, yeah, there we go, S. So we can disarm the spoilers too. Dusty 2, yes, you're correct. So yeah, you did hear that. So at some point, Fly-by-Wire will do an update which will render all the liveries broken. Not looking forward to that day, got to be said. I think it's a little bit further away than people think. It relies on them entirely creating a new model. I don't think there's been much progress of it so far. There we go. All the arriving traffic would be below us at this point, flying in over that little peak down there, as we did on the way in a little earlier today. We need to change to standard pressure, but I'm just enjoying the views at the moment.
Ajaccio traffic,
And we'll continue up to 300. Like so. Jeff, yes. It's an awful time, isn't it? We've got incredible scenery coming soon. We've got incredible aircraft all coming soon as well, and they all seem to be coming at once. So it's going to be an expensive couple of months, I think. Happy days, it's looking good. Does kind of look like a water droplet, yes. There's a real seasonal route as well. I think it starts in April. There's Ajaccio down there. You can see our climb performance has been very good, actually, getting us up away from any traffic flying in on the similar routings. Because you'll note the SIDS and the stars seem to be quite the same. Ajaccio, ever seen the new Rento by Ajaccio Designs? It comes with animated Boeing assembly line. Would be interesting to fly the 787 for a maintenance flight. Yeah, you know what, it looks exceptionally good, doesn't it? It looks really exciting. And of course, Ajaccio Designs are one of the best developers for flight sim scenery out there. And they're also helping PMDG create their trailers and things, the videos, for their upcoming PMDG 737 for MSFS as well, which is closing in now quite nicely. Should be coming quite soon. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be exceptionally cool. Very exciting. Dusty 2, that is in the pipeline in the near future. They'll do the A320 first, then the A380, and then they're going to be looking at the A319 or A321. But that's a long way away yet. Mr. Swedish Moto, no, just standard MSFS default Bing maps. On Sunday, by the way, I think are going to have full ATC coverage from the Turkish VATSIM controllers group. And we'll be doing a real-world Pegasus hop between Adana and Dalaman and back. Well, I think it was a real-world route, but maybe not so much anymore. But we'll be Pegasus Airlines on Sunday for some cool Turkish flying. Payware Adana available on Aerosoft, and MM Simulations Dalaman for the rotation. And we'll fly to Dalaman and back again on Sunday. Back Ajaccio, yeah, absolutely. Definitely having my MSFS 737 first flight out of Renton and make my way back. That does sound like a cool option, doesn't it? I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the first flight, actually, to be honest. for the 737. I want it to be a learning flight, like a learning experience flight, where I sort of have enough time in cruise to learn all the systems and everything, and I'll probably do it on joinfs.net instead, or MSFS multiplayer, just to give it a go. I'll probably do it on joinfs, to be honest. Multiplayer is a little bit of a free-for-all at times. Andy, have you seen speed tape films and the ferry flights the channel covers? No, I haven't actually. Yes, as Dr. Aboard is saying, the approach into Adana on Sunday is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be doing a VOR circling approach potentially. Weather permitting on the day, of course, as well, and it depends on what the controller authorises too. We'll request it. Is it a 737-8300? Sorry, cough. Max 8, by any chance? Dr. Aboard's first 737 flight is going to be KLM, absolutely. You know what? I think I'd like to do a TUI flight, but I might just take the. That's a question actually. Wonder what liveries the 737 will be released with by PMDG when it comes. Generic pilot, yes. The new world update is going to be the Iberian Peninsula, isn't it? So we're going to have Portugal, Spain, and is it the Balearic Islands included? It's going to be quite nice. There's going to be a few airports within that, though I don't know if any of them have been announced yet. I'd like to see a Malaga. I'd like to see a good Malaga scenery. What else could there be? Malaga. Alicante would be nice as well. There's already really good scenery for Barcelona, Madrid, and Lisbon. Faro, I'd like to see some scenery for that, maybe in the world update. For Portugal. Can't think of any of this. Andy, I think I've got some new night shift watching to do tonight then. I've got some stuff to watch on night shift tonight. Thanks to yourself. Speed tape films. I'll have to have a little look at that. So this little route at the moment, we're going straight towards Monaco, but before we get there, we'll be turning left then to head down the south coast of France, around that little bit towards Montpellier. Iton thinks the freeware for Alicante and Malaga are fine. Yeah, but it will be nice to see the Sobo generated things. So they work with really good developers like Gaia Simulations to create a lot of these, so some of them are fantastic. The Stuttgart in the German world update was really nice. Jay saying Innsbruck. Oh, I think that would be too challenging for me in a 737, especially for the first flight. What I'll probably want is some sort of easy departure, an RNAV departure of some sort that's not too complex for the way out. Get to cruise and then fly along to an RNAV approach, see what happens. Depends when it releases as well. I'm out of the country for 3 days at the start of April, so hopefully it releases after that, so that I can have time to get my head around everything. Yeah, I intend to learn it live. I've never flown a 737 inside any simulator before, so yeah, I intend to sort of learn it with you guys live on the channel as we stream our way around the world, whatever route it might be. And then once we learn it a bit and we get the hang of it somewhat, we'll be flying into. I feel like we should set ourselves some tricky challenges like Innsbruck. What else? Some of the Greek islands as well, like Skiathos. I think that'd be great for some 737 hops. Mykonos as well. But also, is it Tegulsicalpa as well? Toncontin. Tricky, dangerous landings. Why not? Nighthawk, Canadian Life. Still at Montpellier, had to leave the flight deck and shovel the driveway. Canadian Life. Well, we're almost on our way back to. We're about a quarter of the way back to Montpellier now, so we'll see you there, I'm sure. How much snow have you got at the moment in your little part of Canada? Or how much snow was there on the drive till you shoveled it? Ooh, Osprey Executive BBJ. That would be quite cool, wouldn't it? And of course, we're going to have to get an Osprey Airways livery for the PMDG 737 when it does come. So I'll be looking to get some help from some great livery creators for that. And we'll bring that into a reality. There's our cruise. Direct pilots saying some Ryanair flights out of Manchester would be nice. So I guess that would give me a good excuse to smash it down on the runway as well as I'm learning it. So perhaps that could work. Could do like Ryanair to Thessaloniki or something like that, so you get like a 3-4 hour cruise element in as well prior to an arrival. Or even Athens, could fly to Athens with it. That could be good actually. Long runway, big airport, get to learn it quite nicely. One sector at a time, I think, for the 737. So, as we were mentioning prior to departure at Ajaccio, on Navigraph, that was our departure routing to Lonso. You can see our progress so far on the world map. So we'll be turning left in a second at Merlou, all the way around the coast to Montpellier, and from Mari here, we're not going into a star, we're going straight in to RMP runway 12, and we've done a direct to Mike Tango 502, which is here, the initial approach fix, 4,000 feet, max of 185 knots. So we probably need another 100 nautical miles or 90 nautical miles for the descent into Mike Tango 502. What else do we need to know here? For Georgios VOR 114.45, I might tune that now. .45 FJR. I'll stick the 3 letters in as well, just for good practice, and we want a 10 DME ring there because the chart's showing that, and it could be quite helpful with a fixed ring. So let's do that to FJR. 160, 170 miles. Bizarrely, there's 2. That's strange. We'll go with the top one for safe. 10 nautical miles. We'll do another one at 5. Although the charts here, what have we got? 6.2, so we'll do 6, 2,500. Like so. That'll do. And as we showed as well, we go down to here, Murray, followed up by Mike Tango 502, and then straight into that RNAV approach. But it's LNAV only, I think, because we don't really have much of a thing there. We've got a couple of aircraft alongside. Let's hide Navigraph, see if we can spot them. 20 miles away to the left, exactly at the same altitude. Can't quite see them, but those clouds look spectacular, don't they? Look at that. Skiathos in a Chewy livery generic pilot would be great, wouldn't it? I guess it's just a question of when the liveries would be generated, I suppose. Doctor on board's wanting a Garuda Indonesia 737 flight for our first flight. Anthony, good morning. Hello to you. Can't quite see them. They're on TCAS. At some point I think we might end up converging with one another. On a different flight plan routing, I think, by the looks of it. The Croatian Airlines flight. That's all off, that's all off. Happy days. There's Murray, and that's 120 nautical miles away, so we are 100... Well, we're about 30 miles away from top of descent then. Actually. We're about 40, 50 nautical miles from top of descent, actually. Quick hops, but they're good fun. Just as you settle into cruise, you're already thinking about arrival. We're going to have to think about the METAR. So METAR, LFMT, Pilot Experience Sims Montpellier is the scenery that we're going to be flying back into. Winds at the moment are 140 at 19 knots. So, almost straight down the runway. All the nines, broken cloud 4,500 feet, overcast 8,200 feet. Temperatures plus 13 degrees Celsius, dew point plus 9 degrees Celsius, and a QNH 1018. Temporarily, few clouds at 2,600 cumulonimbus, becoming 140 degrees at 20 knots, gusting 30 knots. So that suggests to me that there's some sort of front passing over. And wind shear. But also CB, that'd be icing as well. Swedish Motor going to increase speed to create some separation. Direct to Padco, wow. Perf data time. So, top to bottom, QNH 1018. 13 degrees. We'll go with the wind 140 at 19. But it sounds like it could be a lot higher than that. Transition altitude 6,000, but I'll do 7,000. Add 1,000 onto what the charts say, and the charts also want minimums. And if we had VNAV, I'd go for this one here. But because we don't have a proper VNAV inside here yet, I will go for a minimums of 660 feet with the LNAV, RNAV approach. And I'll just sort of do vertical speed myself. Like so. Touchdown wise, 1-2 left, we could potentially vacate at Victor if we do low auto brake and reverse thrust. So we'll aim to vacate at Victor and then we'll taxi back Tango 3, enter via Mike onto the apron and we'll park up. Maybe stand 2 this time, mix it up, which is there. Missed approach for this one, this RNAV approach, is fly runway heading of 123 degrees, climb to Espig, then turn right to Mike Tango 510, climb into 2,000 feet, and at Mike Tango 510, turn left max 190 knots, 190 knots direct to Epsig and join holding. So we overfly Epsig, we then fly outbound towards the south, and then we turn left back on ourselves to enter a hold if we have to miss approach for any reason. Should we need to go around. Andy came in to land at Heathrow. Difficult conditions on VATSIM. Traffic alert went off 4 times on approach. Good grief. Sounds like fun though. Mr. Swedish Moto's over there somewhere. He's making speed and pace, direct Padco, but we're going to be converging. He's kind of coming in a diagonal line along this horizon. So there is a pinch point that we could end up meeting at. So direct Padco, draw like a line straight across here. We'll see. We're Mach decimal 7.7, so as long as he's going quicker, we shouldn't catch into some sort of TCAS conflict, he says. Oh, look at that. Is at Heathrow in real life, I think they vector aircraft so that they're within, is it 2.5 or 2 nautical miles of each other, the separation? Was it 3? I can't remember. It gets very busy very quickly anyway, and on VATSIM, I think people struggle, especially on Unicom, with sorting out separation. Separation's kind of key, isn't it? Mr. Swedish Moto. Worst case, I'll make sure you get some space in front, don't worry, I'll do some F-18 manoeuvring. I'm sure you'll be okay. David is behind with some nice spacing. Mr. Swedish Moto's Air Corsica 786 and David is Air Corsica 490. If I show you Volanta quickly as well, the grey line was our route outbounds. So you can see here, pretty much here at Saint-Tropez, we broke off directly towards Ajaccio, and we did that VPT approach, which looked like that. In fact, that looks pretty good from the charts. And now for our return back, we've broke off further north this time towards Nice and Monaco, where we broke left then towards Saint-Tropez. Now we're doing the exact route we did on the way out for the remainder effectively, but the RNAV will be braking north up to Le Creux before flying in over the city of Montpellier onto approach here. So it should be quite nice. But with the weather showing cumulonimbus, and you can see the storms here, or the high density sort of bits of weather on the weather radar, we could end up flying through that a little bit. What's difficult is the fact that we don't have a weather radar, so it can get quite, what have we got here, weather radar, yeah, in-op still, so we could be flying into a horrible cell that ordinarily we wouldn't want to do, but we just don't know. We don't know because we can't see it, which is why I would rather have some sort of weather radar. We should see Mr. Swedish Moto now because he's only 10 miles away. In fact, I think I can see some contrails there. So I reckon that's Mr. Swedish Moto. Just about see some contrails, although he's more sort of that direction, isn't he? We'll keep an eye. Ooh. I think we're at top descent. There's me getting distracted. Down to 4. MT 502, wasn't it? '93. Oh, you know what? We've just tickled it then. $60 miles to Mari. Mr. Swedish Moto, you should definitely have started descending by now, especially if you're blasting ahead at speed. Oh dear, there's going to be some steep descent for them, like a explosive decompression, emergency descent. Bets, hello to you, welcome. Glad to have you tune in. Look at those clouds in front; they look spectacular. What do we reckon they're going to be topped at? Flight level 200 perhaps? Weird, I'm not sure why that is selected. There we go, that's better. Slight bit of weirdness where it got stuck a little bit there, I think. Mr. Swedish Moto is in front now, but he's up here somewhere. He's still not getting no clouds, wow. DJ DeSol, hello to you. Yeah, this is just, oh look at that, water down below as well. This is just default weather. Almost an idle descent as well for us. So he's directly in front, 10 miles, so we won't see him. That's actually really good separation as well. Okay, well, 7 miles in front. Interestingly, we can't see any nav lights. Ah, there he is. Spotted. Hopefully you can just about see the flashing strobes. We'll put the seatbelt signs on now. Put some dim dome lighting on as well, just when we bust under the cloud. And we'll turn the wing anti-ice on too. What else? Anti-ice wise, we might do a bit of engine icing when we get closer towards that storm cell. And we can expect some turbulence, we can expect some wind shear on approach as well if those temporary gusts do occur, especially the ones that are runway heading, because if it suddenly gusts 30 knots, I mean that's probably the better element of wind shear, but if it's a prolonged gust and all of a sudden it drops off to 20 knots, then all of a sudden we've lost 10 knots of headwind, and instantly then we might be flying too slow if we're not careful. So that's when it could get dangerous with wind shear in real life as well, more so on a simulator. Let's tune that, VOR, FJR 62. That's all we're worrying about at the moment. I might put in a course of 123 on the VOR, just in case the RNAV balks, we've got a backup. got our fixed rings as well. The 2 fixed rings there. I see that weather transition then. That was quite rough. So it could get interesting. Jay's doing the F1 Tour, Fly UK, BI to JN, nice. David's saying it's bizarre with live weather on MSFS at the moment. Yeah, we noticed it was breaking earlier on. It wasn't really working very well. David pointed it out on Discord, and like I said at the beginning, as we left Montpellier, I had to wait about 30 minutes for the live weather to load in, which is a bit weird. But at least I guess the QNH is working, David. I suppose that's the main thing more so than the actual weather. Final refresh of the METAR, it's still the same, it hasn't changed, although it should probably change in the next minute. QNH1018, so as we descend, I'm going to set that now. And I'll just leave the standby instrument on QNH1018 as well. Weird little pocket of cloud there. Look at that. The clouds do look so spectacular in MSFS these days. Adam, good afternoon, no problem at all. You join us just as we are doing a bit of cloud surfing, just before we drop down below this. To be fair, we've got 40 miles to go, and actually we're still quite high, aren't we? So, well, we could probably ease off, I should say, on our rate of descent here. Okay, there's an aircraft outbound, but he's already above. So we might see him pass above, actually. That'd be quite cool. Adam, the exams, I haven't done any more recently. I'm finding it difficult to get the time to revise, sadly. Oh, weird. VATSIM just disconnected and reconnected. I've got a lesson booked in 2 weeks, and I intend to sit the communications written exam in that time, and I'm hoping I can learn meteorology in that time as well, but it's just it's such a headache of a topic. Jim, not so much when in VR. Let's do 1800 foot per minute for a minute. I mean, we've got, I'm going to say 45-50 miles to MT502. So we hit top of descent, but actually we descended quicker this time than we did previously. Now a bit of IMC. Oh, there we go. Look at that. That ground down there. That's spectacular. Look at that. There's a screenshot for Volanta. Oh, how wonderful. Imagine being paid to have this as your office view every day. Very envious. Mary coming up in 10. $30, 40 miles to lose 12,000 to 4, so that's certainly achievable. And it looks dark down below, so you know you've got thick cloud density as well. So CBs, cumulus, nimbus put together, and we've got rain-bearing clouds. Big, thick, bumpy ones with intense icing, downdrafts and updrafts as well, which can trigger wind shear. And it therefore makes it quite dangerous. Haven't seen any CBs yet though. These are more sort of all connected cumulus. There's a CB. And up there, in fact, there's another one. There's like a mushroom cloud there. That's a cumulonimbus as well. And up there, some of these bigger, spikier ones as well, which go taller. There's a big cumulonimbus there. So, icing, wind shear, updrafts, downdrafts. Generally turbulent, dangerous conditions for aircraft. Especially if you go through the centre of a CB. Never good apparently, especially for GA light aircraft. They can't handle the stress. Montpellier traffic, Voltaire 2834 is inbound via Mari for the RNAV approach. Runway 12 left will report base. Montpellier traffic. There's a couple of QBs, CBs, sorry. There's a top of a small one there, but yeah, mushroom clouds, a bit of a sensitive subject at the moment, isn't it? There's a couple here that we're flying towards. The outbound traffic is Osprey, fantastic. Love it. What a legend. Oh, we're flying straight towards that cumulonimbus actually. And there's one there as well, which looks to be over the airport roughly as well. So yeah, you know what, we could expect some icing, some turbulence, some rain underneath as well. How are we doing here? 10,000, dropped to 250. Let's get the lights on. We'll turn wing ice with the wing light on as well, just to monitor for any icing. We've got the wing ice, the wing anti-ice on. And it's anti-ice, so we want to prevent it, which is why we've turned it on early. And I might put engine icing on to go through this layer as well, because we're descending on idle. So let's turn it on. Probe heat is auto anyway, so that should be fine. Montpellier M15. So, that's descent idle again. METAR, LFMT, final check. It hasn't changed. So we've still got temporarily few clouds, 2,600 cumulonimbus becoming 140 at 20, gusting 30 knots. So, should be interesting. Seatbelt signs, all the lights, everything's on there as well. We've got the approach data in and ready to go. We've done our local QNH. We'll descend through that transition level in a second too. So let's go local QNH. Montpellier 1018. And we've got all of our arrival data done as well. To be fair, we're almost 15 miles out, so we'll get a bit lower. When we get below 6,000, we'll go to approach phase. And now we're about to enter this bit of cloud. There we go, look at that. Time to go IMC. Now we don't know when we're going to pop out the bottom of this. In the old says gliders used to use CP and towing CU to climb to the great heights. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because they are so dangerous. And you can go Underneath them especially is where it's dangerous. It's the cumulonimbus. You get the strong updrafts on elements of it, but you can fly through a strong updraft, but then you get to the other side and you get an intense downdraft, and it can quite simply push an aeroplane down beyond what it can actually do itself. Weather radar dock would be super useful, wouldn't it? And we'll go silent cockpit for the rest. Get rid of the music. Don't forget to smash the like button while you're here, folks, as well. And if you're just tuning in, welcome. Please do subscribe. If you want the links to this Pilot Experience Sim LFMT scenery for MSFS, then check the description in the live stream. And similarly for Ajaccio, where we just departed at the centre point of our two-leg sector, double sector today. All the links are in the description below. There's a speed constraint at 185 there. So let's get that in. We are just in deep, thick cloud at the moment. We'll go that off. $185, we want... Where's my cursor? Thank you, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Low auto brake. Ground spoilers arms. Shamrock, sadly no. I'd love to have been. But no, not for myself. 3000 is the next, so we'll just continue descending down to 3. And actually, we can just go to 2.5. We're going to do an LNAV only RNAV approach. Montpellier traffic, Volaterre 2834 is passing Mike Tango 502, initial approach fix for the RNAV approach runway 12 left. We'll report final. Montpellier traffic. We're certainly on track here. We've managed a nice continuous descent. We've got to go flaps 1 for this bit because of just the way it is. There's the passenger view at the moment. I mean, in real life, of course, we'd have none of this visible, except for the bleed from the strobes. And here comes the left turn. There's the city below. And again, this is a 3.7 degree glide path angle for final approach. Let's focus. We're still IMC. 660 for minimums. 1018, 1018. $3,000, so this is looking good. We're on profile here. Let's go. Ooh, let's see, what is that, 12? We're 10 miles now. We'll go flaps 2.
2,500.
Check. We can see the ground. So we're coming out through the base of the cloud now, which is good. Because minimums are 650, we're below that, then happy days. We're at 2,500, which is what we want for FT12. as we fly over the city now. We're literally skirting the cloud base, which is pretty cool. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, now we're back at 2,500. It's showing us pink, which is the constraint, but I've just let it just continue to descend down to 2,500 because we've only got 4 miles until we have to be at that point anyway. Oh, I've already done cabin secure. Landing light signs are on. We've just got gear down and flaps full to go now. Montpellier traffic, Volaterre 2834 is final RMP, 12 left, 10 miles Montpellier traffic. These are the passenger views, the windows. What have we got here? On this side, looking swish. Really thick cloud. I'm going to go flaps 3 because the nose is quite high and I'm not a fan of that. We'll go track FPA and I'm going to get 3.7 ready. There's David on the TCAS display. There's the airport. And that's annoying. Thanks, MSFS. There's definitely a bug or an issue with live weather at the moment. We've got winds slightly across, right to left at 17 knots. Gear down. We'll do 3.7. I'm going to monitor this because it could be that the aircraft goes into too much of a steep descent. We are flying a crosswind at the moment. You can see with that track FPA switched on.
Tango 504.
Grabbing ever so slightly into wind. And we'll go full flap. We're not looking too bad here. I keep getting a little glimpse of the Pappy.
Love your streams, mate. Can't wait to chase you round the Mac loop again.
2000 Blue Chimp. Thank you very much. That's set. My controls. I feel like we're ever so slightly low on the profile, so I'm just going to bring the nose up a second.
1000.
Yep. And we got no blue.
1000.
We're still flying this little bit of a crosswind here. Okay, well it's telling us 4 white now that I can see the Pappies.
Above.
Continue. The minimums. Bingo.
Minimum
Montpellier traffic, Corsica 490.
I mean, this looks more of a decent little profile for us, actually. So I'm inclined to ignore the Pappies.
400. 300.
Still got this crosswind, but it's now a headwind of 23 knots. It's very variable, so we're constantly making little adjustments.
100.
Looking to the end.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Ooh, little sink of the nose wheel there. Hold the flare. Hold it, hold it, hold it.
5.
Oh, how's that? Raptures of applause. Can we get off at Victor? Manual brakes, a little bit more brakes to help. Whoopa, that's a good one. Still left those on. I should have really turned them off, but I got sidetracked a little bit. Yeah, I was high just a user, but that was, as I was mentioning on approach, I feel like the profile was a bit better having the four white initially, so I ignored the Pappies. Let's get that off, out to taxi, strobes onto auto, runway turn off, wing off, wing off. That's starting up. And we've got David on finals. We're still a bit quick, so let's just get rid of that. And we'll bring the flaps to 0. I can see an Osprey over there still. Mikael, thank you very much. I'm hoping I could be quite arty. Oops, that was a bit of an emergency stop, wasn't it? Trying to be quite clever with the screenshot that I'm going to try and take, which is going to be probably about this here. Hopefully we'll capture David just about touching down. Here he comes. Just to UCS. Yeah. Blue Chimp, thank you very much for your super chat, by the way. Really appreciate it. Love the streams. Can't wait to chase us around the Mac Loop again. Well, actually, stay tuned for that. We are looking at doing something with CG Aviator. Not sure what aircraft yet. We're thinking a Spitfire. Do a little bit of formation flying and blast around in the Spitfire for a little bit, for a bit of fun. Who knows? Here comes David. We've got Pilot Experience Sims Montpellier, which is what we're just about to park up out and check out once we've had a little snoop of this landing here. This is looking nice. Look at that for a descent profile. Here we go. Oh. That's awesome. That worked out as I hoped. Let's get back on the power and get moving. We can turn that off. Let's see. Let's stow the landing lights as well. And, oops, APU bleed.
Montpellier traffic, Corsica 490 is clear of runway 12 left. Taxiing to the gates.
So some of the emissives here are pretty, well, they're not great, are they? But in the main, it looks pretty nice for what it is, a small regional French airport. Yeah, that's in velocity makes such a difference, doesn't it, Adam? We'll go park at Delta 2 this time, and when we park up we'll get all the ground equipment and things fired up. The sim is wanting us to go back to there where we started, look, Delta 8 I believe. Got all the ground equipment there ready for us, but we'll go this way. Stand by. Archie, hello. We use... Delta 2's taken. Poop. Let's see, we'll use this one then. We use AIG. And I've done a tutorial video, Archie. If you do want to set it up, you can download my VMR and things like that for it too, for free. I feel like I should have parked there where all the ground equipment's ready for us. He's coming in now anyway, so we'll just go straight. And we'll see if we can maybe spawn some stairs or something like that. Get on the center line. A320's there, which is that line, which is going to be nose wheel, maybe here. Bar brake on. Let's have a look. Have we guessed it correctly? No, it's just slightly short. No worries. There we go, that'll do. Park brake on. Watching David park up. Nice. Oh, he's actually being vectored in by this guy. That's the first time I've seen that. Now let's go engine off. Beacon off. Seatbelts off. And let's see if we can spawn just stairs or something. I don't think this has got any available at the moment, which is a little frustrating. There's only 3 stands at the scenery that have got ground equipment working at the moment. This is obviously not one of them, but here we are. It's got a bit of an interior as well, as you can see. Nothing too major. You don't want lots and lots because it would just get bogged down with performance. It's got some custom ground textures, some solar farms, and also runway 12 right over on the other side of the airfield, which might be more of a general aviation section. I'm not sure entirely. But that's all included as well. You've got these vast amounts of solar farms here. Doctor on board, no. D2 was taken, sadly. And the landside section looks like this. Jim, yes, that's the word I was trying to find. Thank you. Fantastic. There we are, custom ground textures and ground sort of polygons, buildings and that sort of thing included in this scenery, which is quite nice. The woofer's going off again. There we go, Montpellier for Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've done it Montpellier to Ajaccio and back again. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've got to go and get ready for my night shift now, so thank you very much for watching. Welcome to all of our new subscribers, and thank you to both John and Blue Chimp for your donations. Appreciate you supporting the stream as always. Don't forget to give the stream a little like before you head off, and thank you to those of you who flew along as well. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll see you Sunday for Aerosoft Adana to Simulations Dalaman and back again in the Pegasus Airlines livery for the fly-by-wire A32NX, which is going to be quite a nice little domestic hop around Turkey. Enjoy the start of the weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday. Thanks for watching. Take care.